candidates are running for County Commissioner for District 1, Tom Rice, Scott Brown. And I won't forget this time to let each of you make an opening statement. We'll start with you, John.
Okay, good evening. My name is Tom Rice. I'm the current County Commissioner from District 1. I'm 61 years old and got a tint of gray. And I've been married to my wife 40 years. We're celebrating our 40th anniversary November 2nd. We got 2 sons, Nolan and Mike, who graduated from BCHS. And I'm the current chairman of the County Commissioners. I went on in 05. One thing I'm proud of, I'm a member of the Board of Directors of the Montana Association of Counties representing District 12, which is the 6 counties of the Southwest. Another thing, I've been appointed by MACO to sit on the Yellowstone Subcommittee, which is the task is to delist the grizzly bear. And I was appointed to the Elks Brucellosis Working Group, representing the counties adjacent to Yellowstone Park for 2 reasons. As you realize, I'm involved in agriculture and have a concern for brucellosis in the cattle, and also concerned with the brucellosis in the elk to maintain the elk herd in our area for the recreation industry, which is vastly important. I was appointed, I'm chairman of the Clark Canyon Water Supply East Bench Irrigation District Joint Board. We set the winter flows with cooperation of Bureau of Reclamation and the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. I'm a director of Clark Canyon Water Supply for 25 years. I'm the vice president of the Beaverhead Watershed Committee. And also, one thing I think is a super program in the Beaverhead area in the state of Montana is the Montana Youth Challenge. I've been a mentor for 5 cadets, assisted the Montana Youth Challenge with that, which I think is super for those young people. I was honored to be voted Stockman of the Year by the Southwest Montana Stockmen's Association in 09, and in 10, honored again by the Dillon JCs with the Distinguished Service Award. I've been exalted ruler at the Dillon Elks twice, 99 and 2000, and served on the Farm Service Agency County Committee for 12 years. Also on the Western Montana Resource Advisory Council for the BLM. I've represented landowners with problem solving on the Beaverhead, Big Hole, Madison, and Big Sheep Creek area. And I represented the Beaverhead Chamber of Commerce and landowners on a citizens committee to develop the Big Hole and Beaverhead recreation plan. I served on there twice. A little bit about myself, thank you.
All right, Scott?
Please excuse my public speaking skills because I have none, as of yet. My name is Scott Brown, and I am running for County Commissioner. I am 61 years old. I was born right here in Dillon. I have lived here most of my life. I have 2 wonderful boys, Bert and Stephen. I was basically raised by my grandparents, the McGuires and the Browns. The best parts of me come from their love and teachings. I have served as a Dillon Police Reserve officer, and I even solved a small crime here in Dillon. I have taken several courses at Western and was elected student senator in 1985. I helped get money to fund the daycare at Western, and working there, I learned how to change 8 diapers an hour. I worked for the city of Dillon in the water department in the early 80s with a Class 1A water license, and in 1986 was elected city councilman in my ward. In 1989, Jay Chesley was kind enough to hold the notes so I could buy his half of C&D Electric. At the present, my sons and I own BLS Electric and Heating, and I am a master electrician. I enjoy the great outdoors. I like to hike. Some years I get to fish. I enjoy taking my gun on a walk during hunting season. I am an avid reader, and I study history. The last 2 years I have taken up gardening again with my best friend and sweetheart, Kathy Kirkley. I am running for county commissioner because I was asked to run, and I have a passion to serve the county. I know that what the voters want, and I can represent that. They want good government at the lowest cost. I think I have good ideas and a fresh set of eyes to look at the way we run things. I would appreciate your support and certainly your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom, the first question, would you tell the folks your experience dealing with budgets, allocating funds, and balancing books?
Well, I ought to start off with, I've been self-employed all my adult life and been what I consider successful at that, and which takes a lot of constant attention. And that passes on to the Beaverhead County. We're very proud, for one thing, our cash reserves in 2007 were a little over 9%. Now they're a little over 15%, which is, in the economy the way it is, we think that's, we've done well. We've also done improvements to the county in all departments and maintain a living wage for our employees, which is vastly important. Each year we adopt a budget. We've always been able to keep within the sideboards of that budget, and I think that's vastly important. What's ironic is in the states, by law, you have to adopt a budget and you have to stay within the sideboards. I wish the federal government was that way. They do. So, but I think that's says in itself right there my experience and track record in helping the three of us have a solvent budget.
Scott, remember the question?
No, I don't.
Okay, what experience, or tell us about your experience dealing with budgets, allocating funds, and balancing books?
Well, I have my own business, and we try to do that every month. I guess I'm good with math.
Okay. That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Next question is for you, Scott. If you were elected, what would you like to see accomplished by the county commission?
Well, I would like to see improvements of some sort. I would like to be part of that. I would like to try to get more business into Dillon, and just do the best I can.
Okay. Tom?
Well, one thing I think people is very important for Beaverhead County. We're 70% public land, and on that 70%, we, the commission, support multi-use of that entire resource. We encourage natural resource development, and we realize change is inevitable in Beaverhead County, both in growth and in managing that growth. That's the secret, managing it. And I would like to point out on our planning board, we have a 9-member planning board that oversees growth of certain variables, and of the members, 9 of those people are various occupations, and they also represent different parts of Beaverhead County. You know, Lima, the Big Hole, Wise River, and areas around Dillon as well as in Dillon. And I think that's important. You get 9 different opinions when there's a topic come up, and they can address that growth county-wide, which I think is of vast importance. And true public lands, I think, is one of our major concerns as far as what happens on those public lands, growth on those public lands, and revenue off those public lands.
Okay, thank you. Tom, next question for you. Considering the taxing limitations we have and the uncertainty of the money coming from the federal government every year, do you have any thoughts on other budgeting gimmicks, if you will, that you all could use to help your finances?
Well, I believe I touched on it a little before, just a few minutes ago. You know, we very much support development of our natural resources, which we have a lot of area, you know, whether it be some mining, some timber cutting, some the agricultural industry and any other type thing. There's a technology company that's looking at Dillon, coming in there. You know, all facets of technology. I think that's important. It's a clean industry. It really doesn't have any effect on a local population, but they offer good jobs and that type of thing. That's today's world. The technology world is. And I think one thing, you know, when you speak of, people want better services and things for the county, and the only way we can do that is through tax revenue and revenue off the public land. If people desire it, it has to be citizen initiated. You know, they have to vote a tax levy in or carry a petition for changes in zoning restrictions, ordinances, and that type of thing. So I think it all hinges around revenue and the ways to do that. That's my ideas.
All right. Remember the question?
No?
Okay. Considering the tax limitations imposed on the county and the uncertainty of the money that comes from the federal government each year, do you have any thoughts on raising revenue and helping out with the county budget?
Well, Tom did say try to get into new businesses. That technology company, that sounded like a really good deal. Maybe a furniture manufacturing plant or some other type of business that we could get a little bit of revenue off of. I don't know how much that's going to offset if we lost any of the PILT money or the SRS money, but anything's better than nothing.
Okay. Next question for you, Scott. Again, with budget and finances, do you think there could be personnel changes made within the county that would help with the finances?
I don't have enough information to really answer that right now, but that should be looked at.
Tom?
Oh, I'm real proud of our employees, and they do well. And we try our darndest to limit those limit our employee force, and we have done so far as to vacancy savings through retirement. We have numerous employees that, how would you say, wear 2 or 3 hats. And, you know, they turn it about every so many hours a day to a different position that they take care of. But that's what you have to do. You know, in our county, our mill value is $18,500 roughly. You know, a lot of people compare us to Madison County, and there's $85,000. But Madison County has 2 or 3 mines and Big Sky, and which is okay. That's what. But we pride ourselves in living within our means, and I think that's important in the house, in the business, and in the county.
Okay, but on the same vein, Tom, do you believe that the county departments are adequately staffed? And if not, what could be done to correct the situation?
There again, when I speak of an $18,500 mill value, I think we're doing the best we can with the money we have. True, we could use a couple more deputies in the sheriff's office. We could use another man on the road department in Lima, 1 in Wisdom, and surely 1 in Dillon. But first you have to generate the revenues to do that. And at this time, it is what it is with federal funding, PILT money, SRS, that type of thing. And we're proud that we have a balanced budget with some cash reserve, because we are worried about the federal budget.
Do you have any thoughts on that, Scott? Whether the county departments are adequately staffed?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but like Tom was saying, you have to live within your means, and if there's not any money there, then there's not a job there. It's always nice to have an extra hand to do a job, but they like to get paid.
Okay. The next question, it's your turn, Scott. I don't know if you know the answer to this, but I'll ask it anyway. What input does the commission have on the maintenance of county roads, and how are decisions made on what roads get worked on?
Well, I've made a couple of the meetings, and as I think I understand it, is they all get together, Scott Jones comes in, gives a review of what's been done and what he thinks should be done, and then the commissioners talk about it, and they decide what should be done, I believe.
My turn?
Your turn.
Yes, Scott's right. Each Monday, first thing on the agenda is updates on county projects, and Scott Jones is present then, he's county road foreman. And he has a report from the Lima district and the Wisdom Jackson district and down at Wise River and the Dillon district. And each of those explains out what roads have been bladed and gravelled or culverts replaced or any and all. And we discussed that and future projects and what's needed, and we go about it that way. We work together as a team, I will say. You know, we listen hard at the people that are out there doing the work. And a lot of them have been there a while, and they actually know. And truly, you know, it'd be nice to have another man in each of the three shops, but it is what it is.
Okay. Tom, the next question, what do you think the major issues are facing Beaverhead County?
Well, I've touched on that. I think maintaining multiple use and management practices on public land is vastly important. And I think with that multi-use and natural resource development, that develops economic growth in the area, a solid tax base, better standard of living. I think the revenue that comes from the federal budget relating to the federal lands, as Scott pointed out, the PIL, payment in lieu of taxes, secured rural schools, and refuge revenue sharing that comes off Red Rock Refuge is really important. You know, PILT is $700,000 plus. SRS usually has recently come in at about $1 million. 2/3 of that money goes to the road. The other third goes to schools. So if that went away, there'd be an impact of probably $300,000 to $400,000 to the schools, which would be noticed. One thing I'd like to point out is Beaverhead County, excuse me, is I think in the top 2 in the state for the most rural schools in the state. And that's something to note too. Lima, which is directly impacted by a refuge revenue sharing, as that's been ratcheted down or miscalculated, that has a huge impact on the Lima School District, which is, you know, struggling to stay viable anyway. And another thing I think in Beaverhead County, that's the Endangered Species Act needs to be revised along with the Equal Access to Justice Act. Endangered species, as we're very familiar with, is the wolf, the grizzly bear, the sage grouse, Arctic grayling. They've done a wonderful job in the Big Hole with that up there and managed to maintain delisting of the Arctic grayling. The wolf is delisted. I'm on that grizzly bear committee. Sage grouse is a huge issue. A vast amount of area would be affected if the sage grouse was listed, which would have an economic impact. So with that, I think that's really the major issues that we're affected with right now.
Okay, Scott, what do you think the major issues are facing the county?
I suppose growth, making sure that retirement funds are adequately funded, trying to save a little money, or save a lot of money for the rainy days, trying to stay out of the sights of environmental issues, trying to be proactive whenever we can.
Okay, thank you. Now we have some questions that were submitted specifically for each of you. We'll start with Tom. First one was, livestock producers were assessed a per capita fee to be used for predator control. How have those funds been used other than sending Representative Wellborn on a trip to Washington? What was the benefit to producers of this taxpayer-funded trip? And finally, have there been any measures that have reduced livestock loss? So I guess you have about 3 questions.
Okay. I guess first thing I'd like to point out is the Livestock Protective Committee is an independent committee of the county. They have assessed, the producers agreed to assess themselves. Okay, and then there's a 3-member committee that's on the committee. There's also 3 members that are act as alternates. And they have agreed to assess themselves each year. Oh, the last couple of years, the first year was fully assessed. The second year, they decided to fully assess again. True, best of my knowledge, they did give Representative Wilborn some money when he went back to DC to address some of the livestock issues back there. And they've been banking some. Whether they, the committee, decide to assess themselves fully the next year, I'm not sure. That's entirely up to them. We, the county, for lack of better words, we act as a pass-through with Department of Revenue and their statutes in the law for Livestock Protective Committee. We take that money in, we put it in a special fund, and we hold it. The Livestock Protective Committee requests funds from that, and then we, the commissioners, ask the treasurer to release those funds to the committee, and they do with whatever they choose to vote with. And as far as whether that reduced the damage from wolves, I think in certain areas, just the fact of FWP having a hunt for the wolves has trained the wolf that if he sees somebody or notices something like that, he skedaddles and gets out of there. Well, before they were real wolves, but as much as I can say is the Livestock Protective Committee is an independent committee themselves.
Scott, any thoughts on that?
I think Tom covered it very well.
Okay. The next question for Tom. Who made the determination that the parking lot behind the courthouse needed to be paved? What were the reasons for the decision and what did it cost?
The first part of the parking lot was, stretching my memory, the name of we used money that way, darn, I'm at the loss of what it was, the funding from the federal government that we used to reshingle the roof and put the boiler in. The first half of that was used for that. It'll come in a minute what kind of money that is. And then the second half that was against Atlantic Street, we just did this spring. And the big reason for that was drainage. The old parking lot was broke up and sloped each way, and the concrete was heaving. And when you get a heavy rain, it wouldn't drain, plus that it'd go cracks in the grounds and show up other places. And it was just time to be replaced. Now, as far as what that cost, off the top of my head, I can't honestly say the number for both sides, but I would guess somewhere in the neighborhood of 175, 200,000.
You say the money came from what?
Oh.
You don't know the name of it, but it came
Well,
from the federal government? Or?
Yeah, that early on in the administration, that stimulus money.
Oh, okay.
Stimulus money, that was it. Came from that. You know, I was at a blank for a minute. There's so many of them. But it came from that the first half. The second half came out of the budget.
Okay. Scott, any comments?
I probably shouldn't say this, but I've had a couple of county employees say that they thought the money should go somewhere else.
Okay, thank you. Now we have 2 questions for Scott, and then we'll be done with the ones that have been submitted to us. So if anybody has any questions, please come down now. Scott, I think you've already answered this one, but you can expand on it if you want. What are your reasons for running for the Commissioner's office?
I'm not going to say that I'm going to do a lot better than Tom. I would at least say I'd be equal and maybe a little bit better.
That's fair.
I do have a passion to serve, and it's been in my mind for a long time, and I believe I could do a good job. I mean,
Okay.
that's my reason for running.
All right. Tom, any comments?
No, I appreciate his honesty and thank you for the compliment.
And the last question we have, Scott, maybe you could tell the folks what what you feel are your qualifications that would make you a good county commissioner.
I'm a good listener. I've been in business, and I can balance books. I can live within my means. I know you don't go out and buy a steak with all your money when you know you're going to need toilet paper a little bit later. I'm just hoping that I could have a chance to do what I'd like to do.
Okay, thank you. All right, we each have 5 minutes to wrap it up, and start with you, Scott.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for listening to me, and I want to thank the people that do support me, and I hope I'm up to the job more than you would expect. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Tom?
Well, I'd just like to say being a commissioner involves addressing a diverse number of topics, concerns relative to our county. We've got a large county, it's 5,600 square miles. There's 1,580 miles of county road, 132 bridges. We're proud that we have cash reserves. We've provided a good wage for our people, we believe, and also improvement-wise. I'd like to touch on that with having reserves and doing improvements at the fairgrounds. We've capitalized with hauling asphalt millings in through MDOT and improving the roads inside the fairgrounds, improving the horse stalls. We have an old water system. We're going through phases of replacing that water system and metering that water. We've fixed roofs, painted, insulated. Museum has had insulation, roof repairs, windows, paint. And through the CTEP program, which is Community Transportation Enhancement Program, exterior sprinklers on the landscape were put in. That was grant money. CTEP was $15,000. The project was $18,000. We capitalized on that. At the airport, we've done runway taxiway work. At present, right now, we're doing runway taxiway on the corners. We're filling in the inside of the corners. They call it a fillet. And that is providing a wider corner for the aircraft that come into the Dillon Airport. And each year we get all little bigger aircraft and things like that. And the airport has a lot of traffic. The new FBO, it's running the airport very, very well. It's going along real well. All that work at the airport that I speak of is through grants through FAA is a 90-10 grant, which we tried our hardest to qualify for each one of those. That's remarkable in today's economy that they will come to us with them paying 90% and us paying 10%. So that we think that's great. And with the road department, Nature Conservancy in the Centennial has furnished 9 large culverts recently, and we're installing those in the Centennial. They'll provide the culvert and we'll put them in place. Since '05, we've replaced 10 plus bridges. I would say some with TSEP money, which is Transportation System Endowment Program, and that endowment is coal tax money, and we think that's important to qualify for that with 50/50 money on that. We've worked with Firewise, that's Title II money. That's roughly 45/55 match, which I think is good. And there again, with our budgeting, we're $18,000, and you go to replace a bid, you are what you are. But by working through these programs and qualifying and show that you're in good standings and have a good crew on the road, we do qualify. We're proud that we qualified in Big Sheep Creek for what they call the federal FLAP grant, Federal Land Access Program. It's a $6.2 million project up there. There'll be 6 new bridges and roughly 50 miles of various road improvements. We'll detour down Medicine Lodge and Cabin Creek. There'll be some improvements there. And if any of you have been across Cabin Creek when it's wet, that'll be kind of nice. And that is a 13.42% cash and some in-kind is involved in that. Beaverhead County, no way could do that project at $6.2 million without working hard to qualify for that program. And out of Lackner Lane, working with MDOT there, Lackner Lane, MDOT's going to come in and do some striping and put some chevrons on that one corner. After they use their money to do that, we go in and do maintenance on that. Lover's Leap, there's a new railroad crossing going in there. They'll put it in and we'll maintain it. So, again, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both for coming tonight. Next up will be Jay Hansen and Frank Lusner. We'll start that in 3 minutes.